Welcome back to Grit Gym, guys. Welcome back to Grit Gym. Today we're talking a little bit about mindset. Remember, health is mindset. One part of health is mindset. One part is recovery. One part is your exercise, and I really think that you should look from the standpoint of movement patterns when you're talking about exercise, and I'm going to get into that here in a little bit. And then the other one is nutrition. It's kind of hard to X out of nutrition when you talk about the health game, but like, what is health? What does health mean? What does health mean to you? Put down in the comment section below if you have an interesting perspective on health, or if you have just a blunt, super simple. The best examples, the best explanations are usually the most simple. For instance, like, I'm big on the clarity of words. I try to get really clear on the words that I use so I know exactly what I'm meaning. And I look up more and more words as time goes along. And I think other people would find a lot of benefit in that too, because if you look at words, words are just containers, right? And if we look at our big words, the ones that we put the most emphasis on, things like love, are really interesting ones to dig into, because you asked a dozen people how do they define love, and you're going to get potentially a dozen different answers, right? What does the word mean to you? Because I could ask one person what they think the word love means, and they might say it's when you take a bullet for somebody. And I'm like, well, that's a lot different than my definition. And the other person might say it's when you die for someone, when you give your life to someone, when you meet that person that completes you. And I'm like, none of these meet anything around my definition of love. It's a person you have sex with. That's not it's, for me, anything that you can purchase has nothing to do with love, and that includes sex. So the way that I define love is that I'm present, and that's enough. That's how I define love. That I'm present, I'm right here, right now, and that's enough. And a lot of that is based off of this shirt. Are you going to be all in, or are you going to be afraid that you're not enough? If you can be all in right here, right now we got something that we can work on. Now we got something that we can start to look at ourselves. We can start to look at the other people around us. We can be right here in this moment. We can experience the life that we're living at this time. And we can plan for the future. We can learn from the past in this moment. So throughout this video, please remind yourself to be as present as you possibly can and really engage in this. And the best way to do that is to jump into the comment section so that we can interact back and forth. I wish there was a way. Some point I'll figure out a way that we can actually have a conversation over the phone while we do this. But that's what does health mean to you? What does health mean to you? Because a lot of people think it's just exercise, or it's just mental health, or it's just nutrition, or it's just having a healthy heart, or it's just getting enough sleep at night. But there's this whole encompassed sort of Venn diagram to the health game. You know, health is a lot more than just going to your chiropractor, which is not even close. Really, what you're going to a chiropractor for is a dopamine release. So when you get that pop and that click, what that is, that's a dopamine release, and it gets you to come back because it feels so damn good. And so you got to be real careful about, and any chiropractor that's worth the salt would agree with me on that there is a dopamine release there, and that's the majority of what they are doing. It's the really good chiropractors that have additional physical therapy school or additional sports med or some kind of additional practice besides just being a chiropractor. So that's not to troll on chiropractors, because there are certain chiropractors that are very, very good. They basically don't exist, though. It's not 1 in 10. It's like 1 in 1,000. Maybe 1 in 100,000, or 1 in 100,000 is a little ridiculous. 1 in 10,000, 1 in 1,000, somewhere in that range is probably the number of good chiropractors, the amount of garbage chiropractors. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about the mindset it takes to get to where you want to go. Because there's really two types of mindsets that people accept. Almost everybody, 98% of people fit into one category. Another 1.5% fit into the other category, and then a very, very rare percentage end up being that top level tier, top third, kind of secretive style mindset that comes into the gym. And the 98%, what are they on? They're on the immediate gratification. They want to see results as soon as possible. They put in 2 weeks of work, and they expect to see 12 months of progress, and it just doesn't happen that way. 1 pound comes off a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a pound of that fat over and over and over again. And how do you keep your morale up through all of that, because that's a pretty tough deal. It's a pretty tough deal to do. So the immediate success, why do people get into this? We're in a world full of, that is just, it's not plagued by this, but this is kind of what we've done, and to a certain extent it's very good, and to a certain extent it kind of creates some other stuff that's not so great for us, right? Because if you're expecting exercise to be a 2-week thing, that's going to be a tough go. You can get in pretty good shape cardiovascular wise in a pretty short amount of time, but actually losing the fat that you've accumulated on your body or gaining the muscle that you want to accumulate on your body is going to take a lot of time. And also cleaning up movement patterns that have been ingrained for decades and decades and decades. Well, you're going to keep on sending that signal to ingrain that bad movement pattern while we're trying to get a new movement pattern. It's going to be very difficult, take a lot of focus. So this is not an easy game to play in. The exercise world is not an easy game to play in. The fat loss, the muscle gain, the recovery, none of this stuff is easy. Nothing about pulling up a new lifestyle is easy, but you got to do it anyway. So immediate success. Why do we get stuck in this? Well, think about it for a little bit. I don't really know. When I say any of this stuff, like, I don't really know. Anything that I put out there, I fully expect a discussion based on that topic. So when I say this is how I define love, that I'm present and that's enough, well, then that's I'm throwing that out there, being like, hey, let's discuss this. Let's talk about, what does love mean to you? That's my way of just throwing it out there. I'm such a curious person that I expect everybody else to have all this curiosity go off in their head too. So that's partially on me for not asking the question and assuming that everybody else is as curious as me. But that's also me trying to say, hey, this is anything that I say is up for discussion. I'd love to discuss it with you. So immediate success, why does this happen? We have a lot of done for us stuff. I think it's part of it. The world isn't really built up for delayed gratification. Like, we can go get a meal instead of preparing a meal. We don't have to grow our own food. We can just go to the store. We've taken time and we've really compressed it down. It used to take a long time to go from one end of the country to the other, and now if Elon Musk has his way, you're going to be able to get from Iowa to California in like 20 minutes with his Hyperloop, which would be pretty cool. But at the same time, we created a very, very fast way of living, and it creates, I think what's going on is it's kind of creating an expectation that other things should be fast too. But your body is still stuck back in the Stone Age, and technology is speeding up and speeding up and speeding up. So we can do a lot of things with our bodies that we probably couldn't have done back then because of modern day supplementation and just better techniques and better strategies. But the mindset that goes into these strategies has to be on point or they're never going to happen. So the immediate success is just really the expectation that it's actually going to happen. I think what's really going on there is kind of back to this, are you going to be all in or are you going to be afraid you're not enough thing? I think it's a subconscious belief that you're not good enough to have that thing, so you set yourself up for failure by expecting something too much too soon, or expecting too much too soon. You expect this when you haven't put in the work to get there, and so you're like, oh well, it doesn't work anyway. I gave myself the easy out. It's like you're setting yourself up for failure so that you can give yourself justification for why you failed before you even started to try. It doesn't really work very well, right? It just and I realize that explanation was probably just a little dizzying, but it's similar to the perfection game. If you try to be perfect, you're setting yourself up for failure, because trying to be perfect is like trying to do better than your best. If you try to do better than your best, you're gonna fail, because it's pretty tough to do better than your best. Even on your best day, you might get there, but you don't really get to have your best day every single day. So you just got to get out there and do your absolute gut-wrenching best, which is usually more than you can possibly imagine if you have the guts to push out into the world that way. But I think that that's part of it. It's just a setup for failure. Trying to be perfect all the time is a setup for failure. Trying to have immediate success or trying to put your goals up so high that they scare the shit out of you is a good thing, but you got to have the targets and the plan to get up to those things. Like, a goal without a plan is bullshit. You have no place to say that to get to that thing that you want, that goal that's out there, if you don't have the plan to go for it. And if you don't have the guts to push through all the barriers that are going to come up as you go along. If you had already gotten there and you started back at the bottom, you'd shoot straight up to the top. because you already know how to get there, right? But right now you're being the pioneer of your own life in an unexplored explored territory, because every new second is every new second. So you just got to keep pushing forward. But the immediate success thing, I guarantee you, it's not going to work for you. It's never worked for me. It's going to be a very, very sad, slow, disappointing life to think that everything is going to be an immediate success. But what about the other 2%? So that's 98% of people. What about the 2% of people that are like, what's the other mindset? Well, there's actually two of them here. There's one that's a secret. But the most common one in this more rare, the most common of the less common, it's to make it a lifestyle. When it comes down to health, like if you want really good health, you want the mindset that gets you where you want to go. You want the recovery methods that let you feel every day that you how you want to feel, and you want the exercise that takes you to that lets you live your life the way you want to live your life, because that's what exercise should do. And you want to be able to eat in a certain way that gets you to perform, to exercise, to fuel the life, to dig into the recovery, and to fuel your mind to think the way that it does so that you can succeed in your life. Well, then you got to make it a lifestyle. It's got to be an everyday thing all the time. And you're going to err along the way. So a lot of the time when I'm talking about these things, I think that I make it sound like, oh, you got to be perfect all the time. No, you don't. You wouldn't want to do it perfect even if you could. I sure as shit don't do it perfect. I make errors constantly. Ask anybody in my life. I make errors all the time. But I would much rather throw the error out there and be wrong, taking action and doing something, than never knowing. Because if I never know, if I never take that action, then I know the result. So you got to ask yourself, how much are you willing to have to know the results, or how much are you willing to take the chance? Because the chance, at least there's a chance. If you never take the chance, you never have a chance. And you knowing is complete bullshit. I don't know what the deal with the air quotes are, but you never actually know. You don't know what's going to happen 2 seconds from now. Like Yellowstone could be blowing up right now, rolling in waves of terror, ready to melt me to pieces, and all of us that are probably watching this. You don't know, and that's okay. That's totally fine. You don't know what's going to happen. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Nothing's happening. But if you're never going to know if you don't take that chance. So I'm getting a little off topic there, but what I was trying to talk about was errors. You're going to make errors, but making this a lifestyle and trying to ingrain this into a lifestyle is going to be much healthier for the long term and the short term, and it's going to be a much less weight on your mind. You're not if you have this idea, this expectation that you're going to succeed right away, you're going to lose a bunch of weight right away, you're going to gain a bunch of muscle right away, and it doesn't match up, it's exhausting. You're just going to get exhausted, and you're going to be disappointed, and it's just going to drag you down. Okay? You should have goals way up high, and it should be something that you're in a rush to go get, which gets us into number 3, the kind of expectation that you want to give yourself. And this is the tough one to do, because the answer is that it's both. You want to strive for that success, and you want to make it a lifestyle. You want to do both. You want to combine them. You want to be in a rush to get to where you want to go. You want to push forward and do everything that you possibly can to gain the muscle, or to lose the fat, or to gain the strength, or to whatever it is that you got to do in your life to be able to live it your way. You've got to push towards that, but you also have to make sure that that's an everyday lifestyle sort of thing. So you got to combine these two up. These two got to match up. Okay, so if you're around somebody that is always in a hurry, and you're around another person that is kind of slow, that's actually a pretty good combination, as long as you can see the symbiotic relationship that can propel you towards, or that can propel you within. And some of this you're going to have to almost brainwash yourself into it. And the brainwashing, a lot of people, when I was all the baseball teams that I've ever had, all the athletes that I've ever had, we go through a list of questions before they start strength training. Before I do this before practice, I do this with myself every morning, and you ask yourself the 2 questions: am I going to be all in today, or am I going to be afraid that I'm not enough today? So the 2 questions, you got to get clear. I'm going to do my absolute gut-wrenching best today, and you're going to make errors along the way. That's okay, but you make the intention that you're going to be all in up front. Okay, because the default is that you're going to be afraid that you're not enough. So you get into this, I'm going to be all in right here, right now, in every moment for the rest of my day. And then you also ask, am I going to work hard to improve today? Everybody can improve every day. Everybody can take a little bit more responsibility of their own life. Everybody can work a little bit. They can up their game a certain amount. They can up their work. Maybe they don't work harder. Maybe they work smarter. Or maybe they work, I don't know what it is, but somehow you got to up your game every day. And then focus on the present priority. There's really nothing else going on right now. Like Rachel was on yesterday. Well, Rachel's not really a part of my life right now. Why? Because I'm here with you. I'm not with Rachel. Rachel's off doing her work thing right now. I'm with you. So she's not a part of my life right now. This is the only moment that exists for me. I have to be, this is the priority. This is everything. The way I explain this to teenagers, I probably should explain this to adults too, but if you were in high school and you're a boy in the back of the room and you're staring at the pretty girl in class and the teacher yells at you for it, well, yells at you for not being focused. Well, you were focused. You just weren't focused on what the teacher was writing on the board. You were focused on the girl. So really you just weren't probably focused on the boring crap that the teacher was writing on the board. Now, what was the current priority? Was it the girl or was it the board? I think that's a decision for the high school boy. But the thing is, a lot of this stuff can sound pretty brainwashy. Oh, and the final one was be a positive influence on those around you, which doesn't always mean doing the nice thing. I get caught in doing the nice thing sometimes too, but holding people to a really high standard isn't always easy. That's what we were talking about yesterday. It's super hard, actually. Holding yourself to a high standard, I think, is one thing, but holding somebody else to a high standard is really hard. But really, I want to employ people to put more pressure on me to hold me to a higher standard, because I think that I'll be better if they do that, if they help me out with that, if they keep me accountable to that, if they call me out on my bullshit, I'm better off for it. Just like if I call them out on their bullshit, they're better off for it, right? And that's not easy to do, because that's a confrontation that is not easy at all to do, and it can feel like an attack, and it is so hard to not make it an attack, because an attack doesn't go anywhere. An attack's just an attack, but if you can mutually come to an understanding of each other, then you've gotten somewhere. But a lot of this stuff can sound brainwashy, and the thing with being brainwashed is that the thing with brainwashing is that it's gonna happen one way or the other. So you are going to get brainwashed. You're gonna get influenced. You have since you were born. It's just how it goes. You had before you were born. We can actually scientifically prove that babies hear what's going on in their mother's life. And probably in their father's life too, if he's around, or whoever is around the mom. Okay, so we know that something's going on there. We know that you're being influenced. You know that every time that you see a sales pitch from Target, and when you see the big ad on the billboard or whatever, and that was something like you just got influenced a little bit. Like you're watching this right now, you just got influenced a little bit. Like everything is going to be influencing you all the time. You're going to be building your own perception of the world off of the foundation that you already have, and you're going to be building and building and building and building upon that as time goes along. And hopefully you do that forever. Otherwise, it's going to become a really boring life. You're going to get brainwashed. If I'm going to get brainwashed, I want to do the brainwashing. That's why I don't watch CNN, Fox, ABC, ESPN, any of this stuff. I'm very selective as to what pops up on my social media stuff. I don't want to get sucked into really stupid stuff, and I don't always do this, but I fact check or I look stuff up and dig in a little bit deeper on something I might not know much about. I'm not saying you have to do that, but I'm saying it's a good way to really get your mind. But you're gonna get brainwashed one way or the other. If I'm gonna get brainwashed, I want to control the brainwashing. That's why I ask myself the 2 questions every day. That's why I put positive stuff around me, because I know that I am my own worst critic. I know right where my head's gonna go. No one beats Adam up more than Adam beats Adam up, and I almost guarantee you that you're the same way. Probably no one talks to you as badly as you talk to you. Probably no one says or goes to the place in your mind that is not so great more than you do. So it's very important. Are you putting good stuff in your mind? Are you surrounding yourself in an atmosphere that you enjoy, that you feel like you can get your mindset where it needs to be? It's extreme. I think, in my opinion, It's extremely important because you're going to get brainwashed one way or the other. It's going to happen. You might as well get over it. And if it's going to happen, control it. Take control of that. What's going into your mind before you go to bed? Is it the news? Is it some cheap drama sitcom? Is it is it the newspaper? Is it a book? What is it? Or are you writing down your goals before you go to bed? Are you writing down the successes from your day before you go to bed? Are you writing down what you learned about that day or what you could have improved upon that day? Are you writing yourself a little note like that? Or are you letting all this cheap drama enter your brain that you don't need? Because that cheap drama bullshit from the news, I guarantee it's not helping you live a better life. There are important things in the world, yes, but nothing is more important than you and your life that you are living. And that's that selfish stuff that is very, very, very good. That's when selfish is a good thing. Anybody who calls me selfish, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm very selfish, and I think you would benefit by being a little bit more selfish. Because you got to put your health first. You got to put your time first. You got to put your money first. You got to put your relationships first, or otherwise all of those things will suffer, and you will not be as great as you could have been at all the things that you were great at, and you won't be able to do the things for the other people that you want to do things for. You won't be able to care for them. You won't be able to be there for them the way that you want to be there. So what I'm getting back to, I'll go back to it. You're going to get brainwashed anyway, so control the brainwashing. But I got to get going today. I know I'm cutting this one a little bit short. Ran through it really fast, actually. I didn't even have very many notes. Probably could have tightened it up even more if I really had to. But if you guys can do me a favor, write down what you think, how you view health, how you view love, and any other kind of perspectives that you took away from this little chat today. Put them in the comment section below. I really appreciate it. And I'm probably going to see you really soon. Let me know what you think. I really appreciate it when you guys are all here. It's amazing that you come in here at 12:30 to hang out with me. But every day at 12:30, talk about your health, your exercise, mindset, nutrition, and recovery. Thanks, guys, for being here. I'll see you soon. I missed it.